Remember this? So today is the day, finally, that the Forests of Arda Cardigan is available. And so I wanted to come on here. This is probably not a full podcast episode, but I have relative silence except for the mowing outside, but it's spring, so oh well. But I have a little bit of time to talk about the cardigan and the pullover and the pattern. So we went from this to, grab it off of my dress form bob over here, the cardigan. So when I put it on, what I like to do is give the neck a little tug, get it nice and tight. And then I like to twirl these. The way I put them on was I actually pre-looped them over, and that kind of lends itself to a nice twirl. And then I'll button it. I don't know if you can see my little buttons. These are from Amazon. I don't usually like to purchase from Amazon, but I couldn't find anything anywhere else. And even the ones on Etsy were already made in China. So I just went with it. And honestly, the quality is really good. So here is, you can't see the whole thing because filming in this direction for YouTube makes it a little bit of a challenge. So, yay! So this is the cardigan. I am in a size, I don't even remember. I think it's a size 3 is what I'm wearing. I purposefully made the shoulders a little bit wide on this cardigan because in the winter, I envisioned that you would need a little bit of extra room if you've got like a sweatshirt on under this in order to not have it be so tight and to pull. So what I did is I gave it a very generous shoulder width to kind of mitigate that problem. So it's got some generous shoulders. I've got a couple inches of ease in the sleeve and in the upper bust. All of the upper sizes are knit to the upper bust and then have built-in bust darts along here so that you're not getting a lot of extra fabric here that you don't want. There's an alteration guide for just about any alteration under the sun. If you want to alter the bust, if you want to add short row shaping to the bust, if you have waist shaping you want to add, if you want to alter the sleeves, if you need to add more room in the hips. It comes with some standard hip shaping, but nobody's body is the same as the standard. So sometimes you need more, sometimes you need less. So you just I tried to create a document that would address every eventuality. So that's what we've got. We've got the alteration guide. This is really a sweater where you can just go to town and let your creativity go. You don't have to put applique leaves at all. You don't have to put them where I put them or how I put them. I actually used a crochet slip stitch on this to create this part right here, but I've since discovered the chain stitch and embroidery is much easier to control. So there's that. I even had a few test knitters add a zipper instead of buttons, and that holds it together really nicely, especially if you are making it with any negative ease. So yeah, this is the cardigan. I feel like I need to keep moving back to show you. This is the cardigan. Maybe I'll put a couple of pictures up here so you can see what it looks like on and nicely styled. But let me show you also the pullover. So the pattern includes the pullover. There didn't seem to be a point to saying, oh, you have to get the pullover separately when it's like a 5-stitch difference. The pullover is slightly more easy than the cardigan. And as you can see, I didn't bother with any leaves on mine. I just went with the clean lines of the bracer. And this part's probably the hardest part. You could leave it off if it's just too much. Technically, it is considered intarsia, but I made it as easy as possible. This is actually worked very similarly to applied I-cord. So you just add the contrast color here, And then by the time they start to split apart, you just add a second ball of yarn. You don't keep having to carry your contrast color all the way around your sleeve. So it's just a couple stitches on this side and this side that are worked in the contrast color and cables that travel until you create the inner bracer, which I'm having to do this standing up because my office is not quite ready yet. You don't want to see the floor. It needs carpet. So we're waiting on the carpet company. Anyway, so until you get to the inner bracer, and then you cut it. So you just have one, and you're basically bringing it from behind every time. A few test knitters actually did this curled edge in a plaid I-cord, and they did it like all the way around. So even the bottom. So let me talk about construction really quickly. So both the pullover and the cardigan are cast on at the back neck. So like right along here is where you're casting on. So on this one, there's a little bit of short row shaping right after cast on. On the cardigan, there isn't. So you cast on here, so it'd be upside down, and you knit the back panel. It's like a little rectangle with some increases at the end. Then you leave that on hold, and you come back, and you'll pick up this shoulder and work it down to here, leave it on hold. Pick up this shoulder, work it down to here, and then you'll cast on across the front neck, knit your front panel, and then you can basically work it in the round. These sleeves are picked up, and there's a video, of course, in the pattern to show you how to do that if you're not familiar with it. But the sleeves are picked up and shaped using short row shaping, and then worked in the round all the way down. Like I said, this part is the most difficult part. This part, if you bought the pattern, you will have access to a free cowl. There wasn't any point in keeping the cowl separate when you have all of the information needed to make it, except for some numbers. So what you can do if you're not used to cable color work, or sometimes it's called two color cables. If you're not used to that, what you can do is you can cast on a cowl, use that to get gauge and to perfect your technique, just to kind of practice. It's very addictive before you actually work that part on your sweater. So that, hopefully that's a help to you guys. But yeah, there have been some amazing test projects of this sweater. The test has been going on since January, and there have been just some really neat ways that people have done the embroidery and the applique leaves, and some really cool colors that people have chosen and used. This is worsted weight. It's 18 stitches. I think it's 26 rows, but don't hold me on that because it's been a while since I've actually looked at the pattern. I've been editing the pattern. It's just, you only need the gauge when you grade it, or if you're knitting it at the beginning. So yeah, this is the Forests of Arda pullover, and the wait is over. So I think I've set the record for the shortest podcast of all time. This is what happens when you realize that, oh, I have a quick moment and I can do it without anybody disturbing me, so I'm gonna do that. So yeah, let me grab one more thing that you may not have seen. So I grabbed two more things that you haven't seen. So the first thing I grabbed is actually, this is the little Forests of Arda cardigan, and it's gonna have a pullover too. My daughter's been wearing this a lot, so. This actually is gonna have a testing call any day now. So there's this. All three of my samples are knit in Durarum Natura Gilliatt, which is just a wonderful woolen spun yarn, and not too pricey, kind of mid-range. The biggest issue is the shipping cost to the United States. So it's much cheaper for those in Europe, unfortunately. Or fortunately, if you're in Europe. So this is how I did my daughter's. She loves it. I'm really hoping that someone who knits the children's or maybe even the pullover, the adult pullover, is going to do a dress. I think it would look really, really cute as just a little dress. So the other thing that you may or may not have seen if you have followed me on Instagram is, and here is the Forests of Arda cowl. So it's got a little bee. So this is out, and similarly to the Forests of Arda cowl, this one is going to be a cardigan. So I'm working right now on the cardigan. This one is knit in fingering weight instead of worsted weight yarn. So it's kind of a nice lightweight spring cardigan. So I'm aiming for a fall test. That way everyone has plenty of time to release it by spring. So we'll see. So there's that. And now I think I'm officially out of things to say. So I've got my big pile here. Do I just hold it up? So yeah, that's what I've been up to, which has been taking quite a bit of my time. We've actually moved, as you may be able to see from the background, and the current room, we took the carpet up and we're waiting new carpet. And then after that, I should have a nice sofa to sit on here, which would make filming these much easier. Yeah, that's where my time's gone. And also I've been wrestling with the adult vine pullover patterns, both the men and the women, trying to get that raglan exactly how I want it. And because I'm so used to set-in sleeves, it has been a bit of a challenge as a designer to get the raglan to behave itself. So I'm hoping that as I work on that alongside the Forests of Arda cardigan, that I can get it together in time for fall. Otherwise, there's not going to be too many releases. But that's okay. Not everybody has to churn out a release every month. Some people can be slow, and apparently I'm one of those people. So yay, it's been fun to give you this little update about what's going on and what's releasing. And I know a lot of you were really excited about the Forests of Arda cardigan. So I did want to make sure that even the people not on Instagram knew about it. And yeah, I can't wait to see your creations, and I hope you have a lot of fun with it.